I've seen some backfires in my day, but this might be top 5. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about PBS bringing on a Chinese artist and activist by the name of Weiwei. And if I'm butchering his name, y'all please forgive me, but they brought him on to discuss his new book called 1,000 Years of Joys and Sorrows. And in that book, there was a passage about Donald Trump that PBS probably saw as negative. So the thought process most likely was, let's bring him on the air, talk about Donald Trump, have him throw Trump and Trump supporters up under the bus. That was probably the thought process, but it didn't quite go that way. And as a matter of fact, it backfired in a really crazy fashion. Now, before I go any further into the rabbit hole, let's roll the clip. And if you want to see the full interview without my commentary, I'll try to find that and link it in the box. But what we're going to see right now is a relevant piece of that interview to get down to the core of what happened. And after we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what was said there. Then I'll give you my 2 cents and my deep detail analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
In your book, you were describing the directives of Mao Zedong during the Cultural Revolution that would be distributed publicly every night. And then you write, this is your quote, "They served a function similar to Donald Trump's late night tweets while in office. They were the direct communication of a leader's thoughts to his devoted followers, enhancing the sanctity of his authority." So, do you see Donald Trump as an authoritarian?
I don't, if you're authoritarian, you have to have a system in supporting you. You cannot just be an authoritarian by yourself. But certainly in United States, with today's condition, you can easily have an authoritarian. In many ways, you're already in the authoritarian state. You just don't know it.
How so?
Many things happens today in US can be compared to Cultural Revolution in China.
Like what?
Like people trying to be unified in certain political correctness. That is very dangerous.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, I don't know where to begin. First of all, the media, the mainstream media, what are y'all trying to do? What is the purpose? Why do y'all insist on bringing up Donald Trump every 5 minutes? Your guys in office, you quote unquote won, right? Joe Biden's in there, Kamala Harris in there. Yeah, you got a crazy inflation. Yeah, you have low approval ratings. Yeah, you have a lot of people who are upset and are voting in massive numbers the other way when you're talking about gubernatorial elections, probably in 2022 and 2024 as well. But it's okay, right? Because you guys succeeded. You guys won. Your guys in office. So why do you keep trying to attack Donald Trump? Okay. And not only Trump, but like I said earlier, Trump supporters. It's not even about just him. It's about all of us. You want to still wear a MAGA hat. You want to be anti-authoritarian. You want to be anti-vax. You want to be anti-this, anti-that, anti-this, anti-that. You want to be anti-things that we say you should be pro, then you got to get attacked. Then you must be seen as an enemy of the state. Then you're seen as being insensitive and racist and not politically correct. And that's what Ai Weiwei was talking about when it comes to authoritarianism. He was like, you guys are pretty much already there, but you don't even know it. You don't even know it because the way that the media and some of these weird leftists, what they think is that Trump was a dictator because he was doing things or saying things that were insensitive or they didn't like it. He would say, okay, Muslim ban or something like that, always an authoritarian. Meanwhile, you forget you have the House, the Senate, you got Congress, you got federal judges, you got all kinds of rules, the Constitution, you have checks and balances on the president. He can't be a dictator by himself. He can't be Mao Zedong all alone, just in the bubble. That's not how it works over here in the US of A. But the way the government is set up right now, the way things are going, it could be a dictatorship. And in many ways, it kind of is without, there's still some checks and balances. But when they're trying to do things like pack the court, and they're trying to override the Senate, override Congress, when they go a different way, when they try to do some funny things with the election, keeping doors open, bringing in illegal aliens, giving them amnesty, letting them vote, stuff like that, it goes more toward a one-party state. And one thing that I heard from a lot of people on the left, and definitely Congress, people like Bernie Sanders, was when I think they were trying to pass the Build Back Better or some other kind of bill. It might have been the 3.5 trillion, the 8.8 quad super trillion. I don't know how much money they want to spend, but one of these spending bills, they were saying, oh, it's only 2 senators in the way. Last I checked, Mr. Bernie Sanders, there were 100 senators, okay? And 52 of them said no, not just 2, but 52. Do you forget you have another party? You know, you still have the other side. It's not just Democrats. You only had 48 Democrats, and you had the rest that were Republicans or conservative or who were Democrats that didn't want to follow what you were doing. So it's not just 2, it's 52. But the way they see it is you only got to do it one side. You want to have the one party system. But see, that's not how we operate here in the US of A. So when my man said that you kind of already there, when talking about politically correct and whatnot, he was right. Try saying things that are somehow offensive or somebody just really gets in the feelings, break down crying or whatever. You have a lot of these trials that happen all over the country that shouldn't even be. Cal Rittenhouse. If this were not a political situation, then he wouldn't even be on trial right now. It'd be an open and shut self-defense case, 1,000%. But the fact that he had to get locked up, had to get a lawyer team, had to go through this whole process lets us know that we're inching more toward that totalitarianism, right? You get the federal government overreach when they could do pretty much whatever they want from the top to the bottom. That's a problem. Spying on citizens. You got the IRS targeting conservatives, all kind of stuff that has been proven. And that is not just me wearing my tinfoil hat right here. It has been proven. So we already know that the building blocks are in place for a dictatorship or totalitarian regime, right? But Trump was very far from that because every institution was against him. The big money people were against him. The federal government, in many ways, Congress, House, they were all against him. The FBI, CIA, spying on him, all kind of stuff like that. That would never happen under a totalitarian regime. All those that were doing stuff like that, they'd be the first ones out. Gulag, big rocks, little rocks at best. At best, big rocks, little rocks. At worst, you already know how bad it can get. Go back to Germany, go back to China, go back to USSR with the Bolsheviks and whatnot. Vladimir Putin even warned of what's happening with the woke culture and this whole thing about newspeak, where you got to change pronouns and change certain words and words mean different things. You want to capitalize black, but don't capitalize white when you're writing. Things like that are old school. It's a way to control you and to brainwash you so you do whatever they say. And if you don't do whatever, quote unquote, they say, then you're an enemy of the state. That is true totalitarianism, true dictatorship. We don't necessarily have that in the US of A, and it most certainly wasn't that way under Trump. But as I said, the building blocks are here. The systems are here. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to PBS for even airing that, because I know that was not what they wanted to have on there. That was not their narrative. And if it was, then, hey, bravo to them for showing a different point of view, not even the biased one, just a different point of view. Shout out to them for showing it, because they could have easily recorded that and just put it on the shelf, never to be seen again. But they put it out there to the public. So bravo to them. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what Weiwei said about the U.S. and about politically correctness and how Trump was not a dictator or anything like that? Because you can't be that way by yourself. You can't just be one person in the government saying, I want to do X, Y, and Z if there's no support. Same thing with Joe Biden. He's doing all this stuff with executive orders and all these rules and whatnot, but it takes an entire apparatus to support what he's doing, okay? A lot of these states are going against him. but a lot of states aren't going against him. Some senators and House reps are going against him, but a lot of them aren't. And if enough House reps and senators are on your side, then you got support. If enough states are on your side, then you have support. If you don't have that, then you pretty much just out here just doing random things. And you can actually vote. You got the ability to vote every 4 years. And China is not quite that way. In other parts of the world where you have true dictators, it ain't quite that way. You get who you get, and that's it. Over here in the US, we have actual freedom. Now, they're trying to erode freedom every single day with all this newspeak and political correctness, but it's up to us to maintain our freedom in the best country on planet Earth. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.